Over 2,000 years ago, the world welcomed her Messiah, sent from God to save the world. The Messiah's coming was not a secret left in a corner, nor a lamp hidden under a bushel. God promised the world through his prophets a future Messiah, a Savior anointed by him who will deliver his people from oppression. In many and various ways the prophets proclaimed the coming of the Messiah. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide disputes by what his ears hear. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. Isaiah chapter 11, verses 1 to 5. Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Isaiah chapter 7, verse 14. Just like an ordinary man, the Messiah was birthed by a woman, Mary, a virgin chosen by God for this divine purpose. She was betrothed to Joseph, a carpenter. Oh, what a humble background, for who would have imagined that the Savior of the world would come through such humble descent? Though God made his intentions known to the world did not recognize the long-awaited Messiah. The world assumed that the Messiah promised by God would be one who would lead them in battle, a Messiah who would conquer cities, nations, and empires, a Messiah who would be a fierce ruler, a Messiah who would destroy the tyranny of Rome and restore the kingdom of Israel, a Messiah who would not live an ordinary life. The Messiah was with us, yet he was despised and rejected, condemned to a shameful death on a tree, by those whom he came to save. He suffered for our sake, died for love, and conquered death for the salvation of all mankind, by rising on the third day just as the scriptures foretold. This same Messiah will come again. Jesus will come again. So Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. Later to the Hebrews chapter 9, verse 28. Are you ready to be saved? Jesus will come again at an hour we do not expect. Therefore, we all must stand ready for the bridegroom. Like the 5 wise virgins in the parable of the 10 virgins, we must be ready with our lamps and extra flasks of oil, so our lamps don't go out, and when the bridegroom comes, we will go in with him to the marriage feast. Just like the good servants in the parable of the talents, when the man went on a trip, entrusting his servants to manage his estate in his absence, leaving them with his money and possessions with the expectations that they would be good stewards of his things while he was gone. The church is the bride of Christ. Christ has prepared the kingdom for us, and we must be hard at work preparing for his arrival. We must be vigilant with our eyes set on the horizon as we wait for the first glimpse of the bridegroom when he returns. We must be diligent in prayer, in the study of his word, in our personal holiness, so that we might be presented without blemish when he arrives. Do not neglect the inward spiritual disciplines that prepare your heart to receive Christ on his return. God gives us gifts, talents, and abilities to steward and invest for the purposes of his kingdom. We need to understand that all of our gifts come from God, and as citizens of his kingdom and servants of our King, it is our duty to invest them in a way that would please Christ when he returns. Then I saw a great white throne, and him who was seated on it. From his presence, earth and sky fled away, and no place was found for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged by what was written in the books, according to what they had done. And the sea gave up the dead who were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them, and they were judged, each of them according to what they had done. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. Revelations chapter 20, verses 11 to 15. Are you prepared for Jesus to arrive? Are you ready for the day that he returns, knowing that no one knows the day or the hour to which he will come back? Jesus is coming soon.